The glittering Schiaparelli gown J.Lo wore to the 2024 Met Gala could not hide her true nasty nature, as she's trending online after she behaved rudely to a paparazzi who dared to ask her a very simple question.
What are you wearing tonight? Schiaparelli.
Fans have been comparing her spiteful actions in response to those of Usher, who was asked the same question by the same paparazzi, but responded with such politeness and warmth. So, while J.Lo's trending for her solo appearance and scornful response at the Met Gala, Ben Affleck is trending for his absence at the event and his awful unhinged rant at Tom Brady's roast the night before the Met Gala. While sources close to Ben excused his absence saying he's filming in LA, it is quite clear that he deliberately missed it because he would have made headlines. And J.Lo wouldn't have been pleased, as the headlines would have affected the happily ever married front she wasted $20 million trying to sell. Do you think it is simply because of work that Ben missed this year's Met Gala when his wife is the co-chair of the event? Nah, the reason is much more juicy than that, and we're here to expose it all. Spoiler alert, if you really loved J.Lo before, you probably might change your mind after seeing the facts for yourself in this video. In this video, we're squeezing the celebrity juice of J.Lo's solo Met Gala appearance, her humiliating response to paparazzi, and why she went the extra mile because this year's Met Gala was extremely important to her. Did you know that fashion designers spent 800 hours making her gown? It was that important to her. Why then did Ben deliberately miss it? We'll also consider another negative reason why Ben is also trending, as fans are questioning his mental state after he went on a rant at Tom Brady's roast the night before the gala.
You know what I mean? What are you, even the boss is always that much of a miserable and you can't do anything right.
And just when you think you've heard it all, we'll delve into the latest rumors swirling around Bennifer's marriage. You really should stick around for all the juicy details. The Met Gala is always filled with interesting stories and drama, as most celebrities often go the extra mile just to become the talking point of the show. That is the usual thing. But imagine the Met Gala in which J.Lo's the co-chair, especially after spending a whopping sum of her fortune only to realize that she's been canceled. That's exactly how the 2024 Met Gala went, and in typical J.Lo fashion, she left no stone unturned to ensure she was the best dressed. The super humble Jenny from the block also made sure that no lesser human would dare demean her status by looking her in the eye, or worse, by speaking directly to her. Annika Reed, a senior editor at USA Today, probably didn't get the memo or didn't believe the stories about the strict rules people must observe when around the almighty J.Lo. But she learned her lesson after she made the grave mistake of asking J.Lo a simple question that all celebrities at the event must answer. J.Lo and her team arrived at the Met Gala, and instantly the atmosphere changed. As members of her team struggled to arrange her glittering Schiaparelli gown, J.Lo was all confident as she looked around as if telling everyone there that she was above their level. But Annika seemed not to have gotten the memo. And so, while J.Lo was ascending the famous Met Gala stairs, Annika broke two of J.Lo's principles. The first, she dared to look her in the eye, and the second, she dared to speak directly to J.Lo, rather than ask one of her assistants whatever question she had. Annika simply asked J.Lo, "Who are you wearing?" Just as fans noted for a split second, J.Lo seemed surprised by the question. But it wasn't the question that surprised J.Lo. It was the fact that she was shocked to see that a paparazzi would dare ask her a question. So she needed to assess just who this paparazzi was to determine if she was worth answering. Within those few seconds, J.Lo hesitated, scornfully staring hard at Annika, looking her up and down before finally replying with a dismissive one-word reply, "Schiaparelli."
What are you wearing tonight? Schiaparelli.
And just like that, this paparazzi got served the infamous J.Lo experience. The video, which was posted on the Pap's TikTok account, has generated over 9.5 million views in just 4 days and lots of comments criticizing J.Lo's rude attitude, which many noted as being forever part of her personality. Noting J.Lo's reaction, one fan commented, "The up and down stare is crazy." Another fan followed up with a sarcastic comment saying, "Her kindness radiates through the screen." There are lots and lots of stories about how mean J.Lo is. Some of these stories about J.Lo's diva attitudes are so crazy, some still find it hard to believe. If you're one, well, you ain't alone. There were many such fans in the comment section as well. One such fan commented, "I really thought people were being a little mean about her, but then I saw this." Another said, "I believe everything everyone has ever said." Her rude response stands in sharp contrast to other celebrities who were asked the same question by the same paparazzi. Take Usher, for example. Usher not only answered the question politely, but also waited a few minutes to explain the concept behind his glitter glittering suit. One could have easily excused J-Lo's actions and blamed it on something else, but that's not the case, as she was deliberately being nasty. Asking about what or who you're wearing shouldn't have elicited such a scornful glare, since the purpose of the Met Gala is to showcase exceptional fashion pieces and the makers behind it. So, when you're asked who made your dress at the Met Gala, you're under obligation to answer, and politely, because that's what the event is all about. But J-Lo didn't care what the purpose of the event was. She simply hated it when people below her celebrity status looked her in the eye or talked directly to her. And did you know that her diva attitude is one of the major reasons Ben didn't accompany her to the Met Gala? It was supposed to be a night of celebration, a night for J-Lo as co-chair and Ben to shine in the limelight together. Yet Jennifer Lopez walked the Met Gala red carpet alone, with Ben blaming his absence on his filming of The Accountant 2. But his absence wasn't due to work commitments. It was because of J-Lo's bad attitude, and he didn't want what happened at the Grammys last year to repeat itself. In case you've forgotten the iconic event that happened at the Grammys last year between Ben and J-Lo, we'll jog your memory. Remember that Ben's facial expression became our all-time favorite meme after the Grammys last year. He simply couldn't hide the fact that he wasn't pleased to be by his wife's side at that event. He was literally looking miserable. His inability to fake his happiness and smile for the camera only annoyed J-Lo more. Ben's miserable looks at the Grammys placed their relationship under intense media scrutiny, and by the end of the day, it all became clear that this man ain't enjoying his marriage. He's simply enduring it. It was after this time we all got to know some of the strict rules J-Lo imposed on her husband. Yes, she has rules that her husband must follow, so don't be surprised by the rules her staff and everyone else must follow, since she makes her husband also follow strict rules. We've discussed all of these weird rules in another of our videos, but we'll mention briefly some of these insane rules and how they contributed to Ben never wanting to attend red carpet events like the Met Gala with J-Lo ever again. One such rule was no drinking. This particular rule is quite tough for Ben to follow because he's loved his bottle since he was 15, and he didn't hide the fact as he already opened up about his alcohol addiction even before reuniting with J-Lo. His marriage to Jennifer Garner collapsed majorly because of his addiction. J-Lo knew all that, but she kinda loved the idea of being in love and thought she could change Ben. Another strict rule J-Lo imposed on Ben is no biking. Biking happens to be Ben's favorite hobby, but J-Lo felt that biking's a dangerous hobby. To help him get rid of this dangerous hobby, J-Lo secretly sold all of Ben's prized motorcycles while they were away on vacation and donated the money to charity. Yeah, that's how toxic her control over Ben is. Another part of Ben's life that J-Lo tried to control was the friends he was allowed to keep. Believe it or not, J-Lo had some specific people whom she didn't want her husband to be friends with anymore, and one of them happened to be Tom Brady. Yeah, it's the same Tom Brady whose roast has put Ben in trouble with his fans. J-Lo didn't want Ben associating with the newly divorced Tom back then because she didn't want Tom feeding him with the idea of divorcing her just like he divorced Gisele Bündchen. She is such a control freak. Oh, and in case you didn't know, she even has a rule about the number of times they must have weekly, plus a $5 million anti-cheating agreement. You really need to check out our other video to catch up on all these weird rules. All these strict rules and more are the reasons Ben decided not to show up for J-Lo's Met Gala. He's tired of pretending to be happily married. He didn't want J-Lo to humiliate him by publicly checking his drink to see if it contained alcohol or not, and he didn't want to give netizens and the media another meme to circulate online because he generally feels miserable when with J-Lo at public events. But Ben's absence at this year's Met Gala is very notable, knowing how important this year's Met Gala is for J-Lo. J-Lo expressed her gratitude and stated that it was very important for her to be made co-chair of this year's Met Gala in an interview posted by Vogue magazine. Of course, the comment section was filled with several comments that, well, J-Lo had better ready herself. But one other thing that many fans keep pointing out from the video is that J-Lo's looking thinner than before, and her necklines show that she's using Ozempic, the famous Hollywood weight loss drug. This year's Met Gala was very important to J-Lo because she hoped to redeem her image and gain more fans after she flopped $20 million on her This Is Me Now before realizing that she was already completely out of touch with her fans. This was why she put so much effort into making her dress spectacular so that she could capture headlines. Well, as you know, it already backfired because she's trending alright, but not for the reason she was hoping. Her rude response has indeed gone viral. Apart from her attitude, one other thing that J-Lo failed to work on is her marriage. She released an album, a movie, and a documentary just to tell the world that she shares a magical love with Ben Affleck. Despite how much she tried to force the narrative, the project failed miserably, and J-Lo faced lots of criticism, especially from residents of the Bronx. While this couple was supposed to use the Met Gala as a social event to prove their love to the world, J-Lo showed up empty-handed at the Met Gala, further fueling rumors of marital issues. 24 hours before the Met Gala kicked off, Ben was at another live event where he went viral after his unhinged rant, which took place for 5 minutes straight up. Ben was supposed to mock Tom Brady just as it was titled Tom Brady Roast, but rather than mock his friend, Ben went on for 5 minutes raving ranting about bad fans. Among other things, he said, "Fans have your back. You guys out there talking, all right, behind your keyboard, that doesn't make you a fan. That makes you a, I can't think of a more dysfunctional, horrible working system designed to perpetually make people feel awful." The Bennifer family's indeed one of a kind. While J-Lo's trending for being rude towards a paparazzi at the 2024 Met Gala, which she attended alone, Ben Affleck is also trending for the crude and cuss words he spoke against fans at Tom Brady's roast. While J-Lo was supposed to seize the Met Gala opportunity to protect the Bennifer love, Ben refused to accompany her to the event even though she's one of the co-hosts for this year. He simply didn't want to be the source of another meme just like last year's Grammys. But he already is with this shocking, unhinged 5-minute rant at Tom's roast. When Tom was the one to be roasted, let us know what you think in the comments section.